What's up? Today I'm gonna tell you how my car kidnapped my camera equipment, my credit cards, debit cards, ID, even trapped some food which is gonna mold in a few days, and no one is able to help me. For that, we have to start with the trunk. So at the time I'm recording this, it's Saturday, and my stuff has been kidnapped since Thursday of this week. I went to my kickboxing class like every Thursday. I put the stuff I didn't need during the training and I didn't want to have in the locker room, like for example my phone, in my trunk, went to training, got back 1.5 hours later, and managed to open the trunk, got my phone out, put my stinky old training equipment inside the trunk, closed it, and went back home. And when I parked the car back home, I was left with this. It won't open. Let me in! So what could be the problem? Maybe the battery of the key is empty? Nope, can't be that. I opened it, checked it. And also not just that, all the other functions like closing and opening the car work. It's really just the trunk that doesn't work. So maybe the key's broken? Nope. The second key also can't open it. And if you put aside the key entirely, it also can't be that. That fell right behind here. He's driving away. Now let's put the key aside entirely. Of course, every car has a central locking mechanism, which should, in theory, be able to open the trunk. But it doesn't. So something else must be broken, but try finding a solution for your specific car. Like every car has 20 different options and tiny different changes, which makes every tutorial for every car on the internet completely obsolete. Of course, I drive a limousine and not a station wagon, so I can't just crawl back into my trunk. So the internet tells me that for this exact model, a Mercedes C-Klasse, I should just fold down my rear seat so I can crawl back into my trunk, which is completely full of camera equipment, so I couldn't even do that, and reach for a kind of button or whatever that I can touch to open the trunk. Problem is, I can't fold back my rear seat. It's not possible, not the entire back seat, and also not just the thing in the center, because it's one complete structure. By the way, definitely make sure to stick around until the end, because the solution Mercedes gave me is hilarious. Now, in some Mercedes C-Klasse models, you have an emergency release right here on your driving seat, next to where you can also open the car's hood. This is my handbrake, and this is for the hood. So I drove to my local Mercedes dealer to kind of figure out a solution for the problem, but they didn't really have time. I waited like 1 or 2 hours for them to just pop out and say that they didn't really have time to like really get into the problem. They saw it's a problem, but they weren't quite sure, and they also didn't have an electrician on hand because they were understaffed. This was the very next day, Friday, by the way. So they basically said I should come back on Monday and leave the car there for I don't know how many days, and maybe they can do something. But they think, even though they didn't really look at it or read out the car, that they probably will have to break it open, like, I don't know, with a crowbar, not only damaging the trunk, but also the rest of the car's back. Is this really the only option? Now then they asked if I have something important in the trunk. I mean, besides my credit cards, all my personal belongings, IDs, camera equipment I need for work, and also food that will get moldy, maybe, if it takes like 4 weeks. I asked if it would make sense to call the ADAC, which is something like AAA in America. So basically the monthly or yearly fee I pay the automobile club for them to save me when my car breaks down, which they did in the past, and Mercedes said I could do that. So I called them up. They said it's basically no case because the car is still running and the trunk not opening is basically no accident, but they were really nice and sent out someone to look after my car. I went back home. The ADAC dude came, really nice guy, and he was the first one to actually plug something in my car and read it out, and he tried to manually open the trunk by telling the car with the computer to open the trunk, which Mercedes didn't even bother to do, but that didn't work either. He also looked at the battery. If everything was fine with the electricity, everything was perfect, and he said it basically must be the motor of the trunk. So trunks apparently have motors, and this is broken. And for it to open again with my model, you have to, can't imagine this, hold on, break the rear light right here to get in the trunk. That's the solution. You fucking with me, right? Yeah, so now I'm waiting for an appointment so that someone can break my car to get me back into my car, which will then have for me some moldy food, stinky training clothes, my camera equipment, and my credit cards. I'm glad I found some cash in my pants because I only have my American Express in my wallet from my iPhone, and not a lot of stores take that here in Germany. And I don't have any money to pay because it's in my trunk. I can't film any videos, so just my camera because it's in my trunk. and I couldn't eat that evening because everything was in my fucking trunk. If you have a solution, please let me know down below in the comments. That's it from this little story time on how my car kidnapped all of my belongings, everything I own, everything I need. I really hope you enjoyed it, even though it was something different. And if you did, please be sure to hit that like button. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.